Hey there, all my rotation 411 astrology initiates. So I kind of cleaned up this background over here because sometimes the camera goes off. I'm still like unpacking stuff, so I was trying to kind of fit it in there. I've got like this cute ballerina thing. Anyways, it's like a ballerina necklace holder. So I was hanging all my necklaces. I just like to give a moment for you guys to get in here as always, because sometimes the first part gets cut off in the playback. Just adjust a few things. So I do have to say, my apologies for those of you that were watching the last stream last week. So what happens is when I get a phone call, because I like to live stream on the phone, it's just easier for me to hop on here. It's even if I like hit decline and push it out, I mean, it's almost like I have to go in airplane mode, but then I'll still get calls through the Wi-Fi. I don't know. But even when I push it out, then I lose the audio. So I have like 2 videos on here where you're going to get like 15, 20 minutes in and the audio's gone. And it's a bummer because I had pulled this Libra card from the Astro Oracle, which I really love. It's a beautiful deck. It's astrology and tarot. And when I had pulled it, the whole theme of the last reading had tied together very beautifully with it. So you'll see me in the silent part, like waving this around. So it's a bummer that you guys missed out, but maybe the collective wasn't ready to hear the message is all I can say. I was talking about Mercury going into retrograde. We are in the shadow phase, so those things are more likely to happen to all of us, with the audio and tech issues and paperwork issues. But with that being said, then I also have Mercury square Uranus, and then Neptune is conjunct my Mercury right now. So sometimes I just lose the sound. That throat chakra, that second house, it's not ready to be broadcast to the masses. I am an occultist. I am a Virgo moon. I do like to hide behind the numbers. I'm very analytical, but you know, with the Libra rising, I'm very social. So that's sort of the counselor placement. Also, moon in the 12th house, they say makes great therapists if you're not in need of therapy with that placement. But today we're going to go over Mars through the houses because I was just having some thoughts on this last night. Now, I've done a lot of Mars synastry videos. We've done Mars square Mars, Mars square moon, the trines, I believe, Venus and Mars. We've covered a lot. But today we're going to go ahead and just go Mars through the houses. Right now I'm just having this thought. I have a lot of synastry interpretations to write, and if you check it out, it's divinetimingdatabase.com/stars. You can just go to divinetimingdatabase.com and click compatibility report, but it's a free compatibility report, kind of like what you would find on Cafe Astrology, but it has my definitions written in. And I told you guys I have the best and the worst in there, but lately I've been running charts, and I keep them in there like that so I can use it as a tool when I'm working, when I don't have the birth times yet, and just skim down and see if there's any malefics or any really good romance aspects. But now I've been going through, and there's a lot that I haven't written that are really important. Like one of my clients the other day, well, this was like a couple weeks ago now, had Sun conjunct Jupiter, and I'm like, okay, why isn't the definition of that in there? Or today I was noticing I don't even have Venus square Saturn or in there. So there's a few that I need to get in there still that are important. But when you look at Cafe Astrology or 0800, or those are the ones I started with the free compatibility reports, where you don't need the birthplaces and times. It can be really confusing because it'll be like positive aspect, negative aspect, positive aspect, negative aspect. And mine has that, but I kind of trump it. I say, like, okay, this is a deal breaker, and this is, yeah. Why is the moon still not visible? Um, I saw the moon, maybe not last night, but if it's not visible, then it's most likely a new moon or last quarter moon. So, anyways, with that being said, there was one more thing I wanted to touch on, but I don't remember what it is right now. So we'll just go ahead. If I get cut off, I'm just gonna, if like I get a phone call, which I can't really prevent, and the audio goes off, it'd be nice if you guys can tell me. I might come and check with you guys this time and then hop back on. So you might have to, go to the channel and catch me as I get back on. It'll say live stream continued. That's sort of the default that I have in case I get kicked off the live stream. But with that being said, so if you want to, if I get kicked off or lose audio, I'll hop on to live stream continued. You can find it on the channel. Rotation 411 is where we're at. So we're going to go over Mars overlays. So if somebody has Mars in your first house, your second house, your third house, and there's a few astrologists on YouTube that have done this. That's why I haven't done it yet. But I was just having some insight into it last night. I do want to get on here and, go over your comments and kind of, actually verbalize my responses instead of just writing them back to you guys. So if you have anything you want me to touch on, do write it in the comments. We are going to start doing that once a week. I promise we will. Everything's sort of getting settled in. I had a big move in this past year, a big new relationship start with my North Node return in my seventh house. So, so it's been a lot going on. We're sort of like incorporating our lives together, right? So, anyways, with that being said, I was thinking about this last night because there's a lot of Mars energy. I am an Aries, so I'm not going to go into the whole backstory of how I came across this, but we're just going to go through the houses. So I'm not going to go through the signs. So you can equate like Mars in the first house could be like Mars in Aries energy, Mars in the second house could be like Mars in Taurus energy. But because we're doing this not just natally, like if your Mars is in the first house or in Aries, but we're doing it for synastry. So if somebody else's Mars is in your first house or your Mars is in somebody's first house, how you will affect them. So I had some real deep insights sort of into the sixth and the eighth, and it just kind of, I was like, let's just go ahead and go through it. Now, if we don't get all the way through it today, we'll probably stop around, Virgo or Libra, sixth or seventh, and pick up sometime this weekend. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, so Mars in the first house, the way that somebody is going to affect you or you're going to be affected is they are going to bring you a lot of physical energy. Now, depending on how their Mars is aspecting, especially your own Mars, this could be eventually draining if it's like in a square. If it's in a trine, it could be a beautiful thing. So you do have to always take into account the aspects as well, right? Anybody who's watched any astrologist has heard that disclaimer. But Mars in the first house, there could be, if it is a physical or romantic relationship, there could be a lot of physical passion and activity. Now, whether it's that or not, this person is going to really drive you, motivate you. The first house is the physical body. It's our identity. So this person could also bring you a lot of attention. Now, again, I like to always reiterate, especially lately, that Mars is a neutral warrior. And when I say that, I mean that he will fight to the death for either side, whatever side he's on. So Mars in himself doesn't necessarily have the morality to distinguish right from wrong. Now, Aries is the emperor. It's ruled by Mars. Aries would more get its discernment of right and wrong from trial and error, probably. I know as me growing up as an Aries, it's like, oh, why can't I do that? So I have to do it so I can learn the real consequences. You can tell me, but then I know for sure. So the other thing is that uh, it's Mars, Aries. Oh, Aries is exalted or the sun is exalted in Aries. So that's probably where Aries is going to get a little bit more of a sense in the crown chakra of, okay, this is right, this is wrong, like divine attunement. But as far as just general, like the Mars energy behind it in the first house of, which is the natural house of Aries, that's why I'm bringing it up here even though we're not doing science specific necessarily, you're going to, this might be somebody who, again, if like their Mars is squaring some other planet of yours, you might get into into battles, headstrong battles. It might be one of your biggest competitors, especially if you're in an industry that's big on identity, like, influencing or something like that. Sports would be more the fifth house, so we'll get there. But, this is somebody who's either going to be your number one competitor, your number one or how should I say it, playmate, your favorite person that just like gets you really motivated. If you go look at maybe your favorite motivational speaker, now speaking can go to other houses of communication, right? But they could definitely have their Mars in your first house if they really get you to get up and go and move your body. It's a really good placement for somebody who's going to be like your physical. I see. So what I've been doing is I look at the light over here, but the camera is actually over here. So, okay. They would be like a good, what's it called? Like physical trainer for you, somebody whose Mars is in your first house, or even vice versa. Let's see, they could bring you a lot of attention. Oh, that's where I'm going back to. Mars doesn't distinguish right from wrong necessarily, so they could bring you negative attention as well. It's like somebody you could get in a fight with and get negative attention, or somebody that could just really motivate you to get out there and get attention depending on what sign it's in. So okay, second, let's just move on to the second house, but do watch through because sometimes I kind of go back because I'll think of something when we're on the third house about the first house. All right, so that's my Mercury in Pisces. All right, I'm tapped into the collective unconscious, all of you, but I gotta like grab it and translate it and stuff. Okay, so and I have no filter, so that doesn't help slow me down. And I've thought about transcribing these, but that's just more work for me to do. So second house is, if somebody's Mars is in your second house, they are going to might they might be somebody that you actually like to bicker with or argue with more. So instead of like fighting like the first house could be, it could cause a because the second house was the throat chakra. So it's somebody that they could be so overly like seeming aggressive to you, even if they're like a really chill person, that it could make you kind of close up your throat. Like if you have this with like a relative or something, you might look back and go, oh, around that person, like I could never really talk because I just felt like this aggression from them, even though, yeah, something like that I'm getting. But also, it's somebody that could really stimulate you to talk, where you almost can't stop talking, almost like if Mercury or your your Uranus were in your second house, somebody could do that to you as well. You know, with Uranus in your second house in an overlay, that person might kind of be all over the place, right? Like my Mercury square Uranus. But Mars, especially if there's any conjunction with Mercury in the second house or aspect, good or bad, is going to stimulate a lot of communication. This person might cause you to eat more or stress you out in that way. Um, this person, if you were physically involved, there might be a little bit more of a oral fixation here. It's somebody that you might sing around. You might find yourself singing around more as well, especially if Venus is anywhere around or aspected. Let's see. And there could be a little possessiveness here. I'm going to touch on that more in the 8th house. So this person could kind of want to dominate you or vice versa. You could feel the need to control them a little bit or slow them down because Mars is kind of fast moving. It is the ruler of the 8th house, Scorpio, opposite Taurus, the second house. So you know, there can be a little bit of possession tendencies with Mars. It's going to be stronger if somebody's Mars is in your 8th house. But, you know, Mars is also Aries ruler. So it's a very it's fast, not as fast as Mercury, but it's a fast moving energy. It's a personal planet. It's close to us. So this person could agitate you, shake you up a bit, get you to snap at them, get you to just, need to control their movements because Mars is also action. So you might feel like with that Taurus, more stable energy, now depending what sign this is happening in, this person, and if you're the Mars person, then the second house person would do this to you, but you might feel like you get slowed down. And it might be a good thing or a bad thing depending on the other aspects in the relationship. You'd be like, gosh, this person just, I'm trying to do all these things and they just slow me down. Kind of like how I say Tauruses can kind of, I'm tripping over them sometimes. Or it could be the other way where they make you more methodical and they make you think through things and they make you, you know, realize things you hadn't realized before because you do kind of take your time and slow down. Maybe they're the only person that can get you to sort of slow down and be more methodical. That's also like really good side of Taurus energy. So the third house is going to create a lot of conversation. It's going to stimulate a lot of communication. It's somebody that you might zip around the neighborhood with and run errands with. So say you have like a full life, but you have that one girlfriend or guy friend that you love to go shopping with or run errands with. Like say you have like your own relationship, or if you're in a relationship, you might be a couple that really loves to run errands together if you have Mars in the third house, because it's like a local travel and action type of energy, you know, like that Mars and Gemini energy. But it's also, you know, you might just like to take short day trips together and like really be motivated to do that. But it also will stimulate a lot of communication. You might have, if it's Mars in the third house, you might meet this person or vice versa through one of your siblings, most likely a male sibling. So you might meet this person through your brother, whether you're dating this person or not. It's kind of romantic, but I'm kind of leaving it up for all types of relationships here. So you could meet this person through your brother, or you could meet this person through their brother or brother-in-law or something like that, or their ex-boyfriend, even like a bad ex-boyfriend I could see here with Mars in the third house. Fourth house, um, fourth house is going to be the home. So this is somebody who, you know, might be a really good handyman for you, like somebody that helps you come over, clean, get things done, knock them out. Let me know, you guys, if you can hear me. Like, if you can't hear me and I'm just talking to thin air again, it'd be nice if somebody let me know, because last time you all just left. I feel like, geez, like, social sanctions, you know. People are usually too afraid to stand up to me. I'm pretty courteous, and I'm also, you know, kind of strong. So usually I just get socially sanctioned, you know, silenced. That's why I've been doing this channel for 5 years and I have about 600 followers. But I am actually holding myself to account on that, because it could be a bit more of just me being too disorganized or something, or not pushing out enough content. But, you know, I'm working on it. So with that being said, there's also, like, with the different astrological seasons, like, sometimes I just don't really feel like talking. But okay, now let's get into so back to the fourth house. This is somebody who you're most likely going to like to go to their house, or they're going to like to go to your house. You're going to be very active in each other's homes. You're going to like to get things done. This is, again, somebody who could be also the builder of your home, help you make the blueprint, help you organize it. You're going to find with somebody's Mars in your fourth house, or yours and theirs, that you will be spending a lot of time around each other's homes. Now, you could be neighbors, like, especially if it's closer, like if it's on the third to fourth house cusp or something, like on the IC, you could be neighbors, but like you'll be in each other's houses a lot. Like, it won't just be the neighbor that you wave at. Or they might be out, like the one that likes to stand in the yard and talk to you or something. You might be like, why does this person, like, every time I turn around, they're in my yard? It's just because that Mars energy, they just feel, you know, an impulse to come towards you, because also Mars rules impulses. Usually pretty wise impulses, but not always, right? It depends how mature the energy is. So fifth house, and so also Mars on your fourth house could represent, I'm getting like it could be also like a stepfather energy here, because the IC is the home. Could also be like a private relationship with, like, somebody who's not around your home. It just could be a very you'll have a lot of confidence. If you have any, like, secret hobbies, you might find that you have somebody with Mars that you do. You might find that you have somebody with Mars on your fourth house. And you might find that you have this with siblings, like brothers as well. Not just meeting people through brothers, but you might have this overlay with one of your brothers, even if you're a male. Let's see. And also, if you're a mother, your son might have his Mars on your fourth house as well. Fifth house, getting into that, we have, this is where this would be like somebody that you do sports with, somebody that you are very competitive in sports with. This could be a male child so whether you're mother or father, you might find one of your male children. So if you come to me as an astrologist and you say, you know, am I going to have any kids? And it's, you know, before you ever had any kids, then I look in your fifth house and Mars is there. I'm going to be like, yeah, you're probably going to have a boy, you know, at some point. If somebody's Mars is overlaying into your fifth house and you are dating and could procreate, then depending on what other planets are there, I would say that you guys are probably going to lean towards having a boy if you did have a child. If you are a step parent, you could meet someone who has a boy and then, you know, they overlay into your fifth house. Like, yeah, if you are one, if you meet someone and become one, then your partner might have their Mars in the fifth house. Now, the sixth house is going into where I was thinking about this. The sixth house is it's not really a romantic house. We don't consider it that. But I do feel like it's almost more conducive to a good partnership or relationship as far as Mars goes. Because, you know, Mars, the sixth house is daily activities. It's also can be a bit of communication with Virgo, like chatter, idle chatter, like kind of like Gemini. So I feel like Mars and Mercury get along fairly well. I don't know what Vedic astrology says about that, though, so don't hold me to that. You know, Mars is malefic, and I don't know if Mercury's malefic. I feel like it's a little more neutral, but it can be very malefic when it's like retrograding and stuff. So Mars in the sixth house, I like this one because it's somebody that you're going to have daily activity with. So it's kind of like the fourth house is a good Mars overlay because it's somebody that, it's a good person to live with, Mars in the fourth house. Well, it could cause some fights and aggression. So depending on how you deal with Mars energy in your chart, but the first house, like this person could be too hot on your heels, but really push you and drive you. But I like this sixth house because I guess maybe it's like the Virgo and Gemini in my chart of Mercury, and then Mars. But I like to-do lists. I like getting things done. That's very sixth house. Like, I feel like Virgo is not that they're all so organized that they make to-do lists, but like I have a good friend who's a Virgo, and we go over to his house, and he's like, okay, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this. And it's like, okay, and then he gets, I don't know, he's a lot like me in the way he is, just getting little things done, but then kind of being able to really zone in on something and really analyze it as well, and kind of getting paused on that. So to somebody from the outside, it can seem very scattered. So that's kind of sixth house energy. It's daily tasks. It's getting things done. It's sort of the tedious stuff. And Virgo really likes that. But with Mars here, it gives it a lot of fire and a lot of drive to get those things done. So it's not like, oh, man, if Venus is there with Mercury, Venus is going to be like, oh, relax, let's have a chat. Like, we have plenty of resources. We'll get to it when we get to it. And it'll get done in a leisurely, pleasurable amount of time, you know. But Mars is going to be like, okay, get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. So I really like that energy. If you don't like that kind of energy, then you might not like somebody with Mars in your sixth house, because they're going to be constantly kind of not nitpicking you, but you might feel that way because they're going to be like, what about this? What about that? What about cross these T's and dot these I's? And we got to get this done. And, and you're going to be like, chill, like relax, like, but so just depending on how you two get along in the other aspects, it can be a very good one. Also for physical relationship, um, if you're somebody like I'm in one of my, probably like Love on a Rotten Day or one of these, I put them back here, but I don't think you can see them in the frame. It says that Aries like is probably the most frequent in the bedroom, so they like daily activity. It's kind of they're not like the most seductive free. I'm not saying like they get the title, but they're the ones that need it the most frequently, they say. So and especially in a relationship, I'd say for me as a qualifier. Um, so Mars in the sixth house gives daily, physical activity, right? Mars rules the phallic nature. So if you're somebody who doesn't need it every day, and somebody's Mars is in your sixth house, you might be going, whoa, get off me. Like, I need a break, okay? But if you're someone who likes that, then even though Mars in the sixth house isn't really a romantic placement, we think of the fifth and the seventh and even the eighth is, physical intimacy, and the 11th is, wish fulfillment and getting sort of your dream person in a nutshell. Even the second and the first house I feel like are a bit more romantic. I do like the sixth house with Mars there. Now the seventh house, Mars there, it's a partnership. So this is going to, but I have my seventh house in Aries. I'm sure I've mentioned before if you guys have watched any other videos on this channel. And it's not really the most comfortable energy to have the seventh house in, right? It's flipped, it's aggressive. They say that women with like the Jupiter in Aries, which is kind of like having, Jupiter is the husband in a woman's chart, so which I have also in Aries, but the seventh house in Aries, it's they say you'll get a spicy spouse. So like Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown have this, her, I don't know if it's her seventh house or her Jupiter, but they say you get a spicy spouse. And I think also Lauryn Hill had this with her husband, or she has her Jupiter in the, she's married to like one of the Marleys and had a bunch of kids or something. So anyways, but it was kind of like a rocky relationship. So it makes you very strong, independent woman, you get a spicy spouse. So in the seventh house, it's the house of partnership and legal partnership and marriage, but it's also the house of open enemies and the court house. So they say like if you have, I've watched a Vedic astrologer, KRS astrology channel, I really like him. And I think he was saying like, certain placements in the seventh house could indicate like a good, like marriage counselor or officiator, like an attorney, right? But it can also indicate, I can't remember if he said sixth something about the sixth, but it can indicate like a good divorce attorney even. So seventh and sixth house, because sixth, I can't remember how I qualified it Vedically. You can even see like good divorce attorneys in the seventh house of legal marriage and partnership, because it's Libra's house. They're going to be fair and balanced, but who's going to be more interested in it? So having Mars in the seventh house isn't necessarily conducive to romance. Now, it is partnership. So again, it is going to make you want to interact with this person one on one. It can make you want to hook up with this person. It could make you latch together and be together with some volatility, most likely. Um, Kind of like that seventh house and Aries energy. So if you're somebody who doesn't like conflict and can't handle any kind of aggressive type of behavior, Mars in the seventh house probably isn't going to be comfortable for you. But it's definitely going to stimulate like a physical, private, one-on-one relationship. It could have you two bound together, but it's very one-on-one. So again, you could get a little bit of that all-consuming energy, like the second or the eighth house, where this person might be demanding your attention one-on-one all the time. Um, and so it could be kind of hard, depending on the other aspects, to balance this relationship with others. Because when this person wants your attention, they're going to definitely let you know, and pull you aside. And so it could feel a bit possessive for a lot of people, depending again, like how it's aspect and everything. It's going to be softer or harder. That's sort of maybe like the shadow side or the downside of having somebody's Mars in your seventh, or vice versa. If your Mars is in their seventh, you might feel like, I need to get this person alone, and then it might end up being a physical thing. But that's why I like the sixth house a little more, almost, because it's like you want to be around each other every day, but you're getting stuff done. So it's like your focus isn't solely on each other. When you have planets in the seventh house, the focus is solely on the partnership, on each other. That's like when you're going through a divorce or you're getting legally married, it's all about you two and each other. So like you go through the wedding, it's all about you two. Everything's about you two. But then once you're married, it's about the community. And so that's where the seventh house actually can become a bit impersonal. And I do think you almost need that legality. I was talking to you guys about this before. Like, there's different qualifiers with the deal breakers and the aspects. Like, some couples will divorce, or they'll split up before they get married, but they wouldn't have ever probably split up if they had gotten married, because it's like that much of a qualifier that marriage actually can seal things. It's hard to get out of marriage sometimes. We can get stuck in it. So that's the big deal about it. But so with the seventh house, it's kind of like you can get Mars in there, you could get stuck with someone that really aggravates you. So you have to be careful in the seventh house. But the sixth, and so it does become about community once you officialize the relationship. But if you're dating or you're interacting on a different level as one-on-one, this could be someone that's like annoying because they always need your one-on-one attention. It's like, you can say what you can say to me, you can say in front of everyone, and this person's like, no, 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 I need to tell you over here. Okay, my man's calling through. I gotta go. We'll pick up at the seventh house tomorrow. You might not even have audio. I'm sending you all lots of love, blessings, and light. Mwah.